We're now giving out over $8 million a year. In fact, in your parking lot right outside, just before I walked in, I gave to $22,276 to Yahalom.
So let's explain first what daily giving is.
Being very vulnerable. It was very hard. It was hard for me to give. It wasn't easy because I didn't have anyone saving up for my retirement account or putting money away for my kids' college fund. Someone offered me $1 million for 1% of my schar.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, but no thank you. So a woman, I don't think she's from actually, from Miami, she called us and said, I have $29,000, 10% that I want to give. I don't know who to give to, but I trust you. Until very recently, I mean, really like the last year, I was never happy. Wow. I just constantly was disappointed. It's like, why aren't we growing? Why aren't we getting more? Why aren't we getting more? I don't understand. I've always struggled with tzedakah because I always felt like, what's my $18, $36 check? That's all I could afford. And what kind of impact am I really having? So I felt this conflict. Like I don't feel good about the little I'm able to give. And he said, for the first time in my life with daily giving, I feel like I'm a big veer.
People hold on to their money.
Yeah.
Like for their dear life. Does money make you happy? Okay, today we are honored to welcome someone who has dedicated his life to making a real difference in other people's lives. His name is Jonathan Donat. He's the founder of an organization called Daily Giving. Jonathan had a powerful vision. He had a vision of countless people coming together and touch each other's lives. It is a beautiful thing. Welcome, Jonathan, to the Struggle Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's start with first, who is Jonathan? Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Sure. I like to think that I'm an Eved Hashem.
Okay.
That comes first.
Excellent.
That's who I am. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
I've lived in New York for the last 25 years. Going just to take a step back, in Minneapolis, growing up, it was just a wonderful, a wonderful little town, St. Louis Park. They nicknamed St. Jewish Park. 400 or 500 from families, and went to a Jewish day school. My father's was a professor at University of Minnesota since 1978. He just retired this past May, and my parents still live in Minnesota. And it was a great upbringing, going to Torah Academy, and then there was no Jewish high school at the time for boys in Minneapolis, so I went to Skokie, Yeshiva in Skokie in Chicago for 4 years. After that, I spent a year and a half in Israel, in Mavaseret, and then I went to YU. Mm-hmm. And after YU, I became a chiropractor, did 4 years of chiropractic school, and I started my own practice about 19 years ago. And it was in private practice, and that's what I did until this epiphany came to me. And I'm still working as a chiropractor full time, but I also run Daily Giving full time.
Wow, excellent! Where is this chiropractor office?
It's in White Plains, New York, about 30 minutes from here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So this is what you do in your private life. Now, we want to know the story of what inspired you. What's the story behind the Daily Giving?
Sure. I actually always felt blessed that I knew what my tafkid was. I was a chiropractor, and I treat people in very serious pain, chronic pain, mostly neck and back pain, but also headaches and other various, migraines and other things. And I just felt so blessed to be able to heal people and be really a kli that Hashem gave me this skill to help people get out of pain. And I would say 90% of my patients were not even Jewish. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I got to make a Kiddush Hashem every day. So many times people told me, that I was the only Jew they ever knew. And so I took that very seriously in how I acted. And when I got people better, I knew that these patients would always remember when something comes on the news or something else about an Orthodox Jew, they would probably picture me. Mm-hmm. And it was very special. In fact, my wife and I had always wanted to make Aliyah, but one of the reasons that pulled me back from making Aliyah is that if I made Aliyah, all my patients would be from or Jewish, and I wouldn't be able to get to make that impact. So it was really like a strong thing that I really loved making a Kiddush Hashem. And then about 7 years ago, so one of my friends recommended me this YouTube video about a Rav who had basically a near-death experience. I had never heard of him, and I turned it on, and it was a 2-hour YouTube video. I'd like to send it to you. It's really incredible. Right. If you want to post it, you can. Yeah. His name is Rabbi Alon Anava. And Rabbi Anava, he said, he's like, I wasn't just a secular Jew. I dafke cheeseburgers on Yom Kippur. He said, and I heard another story that he would actually barbecue pork. He lived in Israel, like northern Israel, and he would barbecue pork and he would waft the smell to his neighbors. That's the kind of person he was. And he overdosed on drugs and he died. And this 2-hour video describes in the most vivid, great detail his afterlife experience. And he obviously did come back to life. And it really shook me to the core, the whole thing. But at one point, he discussed how he felt like he was in this black abyss of pain and suffering, what felt like 2 billion years. And it was just forever. And the message or whatever he described he got was that you don't have a single mitzvah to elevate you to the next level. You're stuck because you just weren't good. You didn't do any mitzvahs. And it was very powerful. And I remember walking, I literally finished. It was a 2-hour video, so I probably watched 20 minutes here, 10 minutes here. And I remember finishing it and walking to my local Marmini in White Plains, New York, 30 minutes from here. And I put $1 in tzedakah box that night, like we've all done so many times in our lives. And I just had this epiphany right when I put the $1 in. I've never had an epiphany before. I've never had one since, but it was like this deep knowing that this idea I just had was something like I thought I had $1 billion idea. And that was that no matter how much tzedakah I give, I still get a mitzvah for this $1. And it must be, I know it's because of the podcast I just listened to. I was like, how can I guarantee myself this mitzvah of tzedakah every single day, no matter what? Meaning that $1 I just put in is a mitzvah. Whether I give a $10,000 check or $1, it's a mitzvah.
Of course.
So we don't know what's going to put the scale over the edge. So I was like, how can I guarantee myself this mitzvah of tzedakah every single day? I want to be a giver every single day, no matter what. I remember as a child, my mother always giving me a penny or nickel to give in Torah Academy and put in the pushka. It's like, there's so many things we do in Judaism that we're supposed to do every day. And we are supposed to give tzedakah, but it doesn't, I've never heard of something that says like mafarsh, like give tzedakah every single day, no matter what. And so I remember being I couldn't even concentrate during Shema Esrei. I remember being so excited by this idea. And I ran home. I started Googling daily tzedakah giving or whatever. And I could not find anything where someone was purposely trying to automate daily tzedakah giving. Now, every organization in the world, you could sign up for $30 a month. They'll take your money for $30 a month. But purposely, I wanted there to be a different mitzvah every single day. And I called up my website guy, Shaul, and I told him the idea. And I had never heard of Rabbi Alon Anava. He had heard of him. So I was like, wow, that was already like another sign. He's like, wow, yeah, of course. He's amazing. And I told him the idea. He loved it. And I said, can you build me a website? He said, sure. And then the next idea I had was, because I listened to Torah Anytime a lot, I was like, wow, if I could get Rabbi Pesach Krohn to speak about daily giving the way he speaks about Torah Anytime, we could blow this up internationally. And so I got Rabbi Krohn's number. I'd never spoken to him before. And I remember him picking up the phone and hearing the voice of Torah Anytime come on the line. I remember my heart beating out of my chest. And I told Rabbi Krohn the idea. And he says, this is a great idea. He says, are you sure no one's doing this? I said, Rebbe, no one's doing this. So he said, okay, I think you need to come up with a rabbinical council that people have heard of, that people trust, so that people know that the money you're collecting is not going to your kid's college fund.
Right.
And I thought, that's a really smart idea. And so I called, really my next 3 calls were, till this day, the 4 people on the rabbinical council: Rabbi Krohn, Rav Herschel Schechter Shlita, Rabbi Ramosha Tuvia Leaf, and Rav Shmuel Greenberg, who's my Rav in White Plains. And they've been instrumental. It's been great. And so I actually just spoke to all of them this week, because we had 700 applications since the last time we've added new organizations. And it's become like a whole subdivision of our organization of, look, we're giving out over $8 million a year now.
So let's explain first what daily giving is.
Sure.
Explain it with $1, what you're doing.
So what we did is we automated this platform to try to get Jews all over the world to give $1 of tzedakah together every single day.
You sign up and it's $1 a day.
Correct. We can't hit your credit card every day, because then it would be 30 cents of the dollar would go to the credit card fees. So we give you a monthly option or an annual option. I'm your shaliach. Every single day I give your money for you on your behalf. In fact, in your parking lot right outside, just before I walked in, we gave today $22,276 to Yahalom, which is an incredible organization. Maybe I'll tell you what it is. Just so you know, Yahalom is an organization that doesn't just help special families with children who have special needs. They help when someone finds out that when they have a special needs child, they don't know where to begin. Yahalom is an organization that helps them with just kind of how to start dealing with from A to Z. What organizations, what other sub organizations they could get help from, what grants they can get from, all these different things. And it's an unbelievable organization. And one of the things that people love about daily giving is not just the money we're giving out, but they learn, because we send an email every single day to all our daily givers where the money goes that day. It's completely transparent. We send them with a video, what the organization does, a link to the organization. And people tell us how they love finding out. I mean, half the organizations they've heard of, and the other half, they're like, wow.
They didn't even know.
Mikam Israel, they're like, this is incredible.
Unbelievable. So let me tell you what I hear. What you did is, what the organization is you go to shul, someone comes to you, you give him $1. You don't know if it makes a difference. Every little dollar makes a difference. But it's not. What you did is you created something that an entire community. I mean, how much money are you giving out a day?
Today, $22,276
a day.
Yeah.
Which means that from single dollars, from small donations that people are giving daily, for a fact, there's $1 going to tzedakah. It is a different feeling when you know your dollar makes a difference. It became $22,000 for any organization. We're all Yidden, and it is different than just giving $1 in shul. It's just the impact that has. So in a year, how much are you giving out in a year?
We're now giving out over $8 million a year.
Just from the single dollars
Just
that people,
dollars.
and the people don't know you don't know them, they don't know the organization. Nobody knows.
It's the highest level of tzedakah.
It's unbelievable stuff.
People give, not necessarily, well, they can see on our website who we give to, but they don't know the individuals who are getting.
It's crazy.
And the people getting don't know, they know it's coming from daily giving, but they don't know where it's coming from.
It is genius.
And I will tell you that I was in Israel just a couple months ago, and I visited one of the organizations, Bat Melech, that we give to. And at the time, this is maybe a year ago, we were giving $15,000 a day at the time. And I showed, so Bat Melech is an organization that helps women who suffer from domestic violence. They have safe houses for women in different parts of Israel. And I sat down with a woman who was in the safe house, and I showed her the email that day that Bat Melech had gotten $15,000, and she starts crying. And after she composed herself, I asked her what made her so emotional. And she said, I have such hakar satov to Bat Melech for what they've done to me, and I know that it's expensive what they do, and of course I want them to get funding, and I'm so happy that they're getting funding from you. But to me, she said, the fact that there are over 15,000 Jews that know about us, she started crying. She was like, "Well, I just the support she felt that she was getting." There's so many different aspects, and I will tell you that even we're giving out over $8 million a year, we don't take a penny. 100 cents of every dollar goes to tzedakah. It doesn't mean you don't have an overhead. We do have overhead.
Right.
I just fundraise that overhead myself. So meaning I'm not paying for it. I used to with my friends, but now that it's grown, there are people that love our mission. They understand
how many people sit in the office? What's the?
We don't have it. We don't have an office.
Okay.
I'm still a full-time chiropractor.
Right.
I have 4 full-time staff, 5 part-time staff. Our COO lives in Cleveland, Ohio, Rabbi Aryeh Friedner. He's unbelievable. Our director of marketing lives in Las Vegas. Our CFO lives in Teaneck. We have people from different places, and everyone loves working for us. Everyone loves being a part of it, and it's really. I really think that because I had about 15 different heads of organizations told me, said, Jonathan, when you first called us and told us your idea, we're like kind of giggled to ourselves. Okay, we'll take your free money. We'll take your $10 check or $40 check, but this is going to be an epic fail. Right. They said it's the oldest trick in the book. Every organization knows that if you get $30 a month from every donor, that'd be millions of dollars. It would pay for our whole budget. Right. And as we said, we've all tried and we all failed. So we thought you were going to fail. And two reasons why I think it took off. Number one is the Achdus. I think Hashem loves unity more than anything else. What more could he want than all of his children coming together every single day to give to our brothers and sisters who are less fortunate?
It's like by Har Sinai, all kinds of Jews.
That's right.
Everybody's
That's right. Nothing makes me happier. I go all over the world and I travel and I talk to people. And yesterday in my office, I had a patient. He's married to a non-Jewish woman. He has non-Jewish kids. He knows nothing from nothing. And I actually have this really big opportunity for a marketing campaign. And I have to fundraise the whole thing myself. And I told him about the idea. This happened last night. And no one knows. I guess now everyone's going to know. Yeah. But I told him about it. And he said, what do you need? And I said, the campaign's going to cost $116,000. I don't know what he was going to say. He says, I'll give you $25,000. Wow. I told him, I said, I explained to him what Olam Haba was. I said, his name's David. I said, David, I'm going to drag you into Olam Haba. And I explained what it was. And he says, we believe, Jews, we believe in heaven? We believe in, he's like, he didn't know. To give you an idea, like what, so we have secular Jews. He's been signed up for daily giving for almost 7 years now, right? Wow. So we have secular Jews, and I've been in I've been at a Project Inspire Shabbaton where Hasidim have come up to me and show me on their they don't have smartphones, and showing me how they have the daily email, and with the biggest smile. They love being a part of it. One time I had a Hasidic guy from Brooklyn call me. It was after October 7th. We started an Israel Emergency Fund. We got over $600,000 within months in for the Israel, just an extra fund for Israeli organizations. And he said, I've never given a dollar to anything, Israeli art. We don't give to the Israeli army, but we give to organizations that help, soldiers with PTSD and other things like that. And he says, I can't tell you how happy it makes me that I'm giving to $1 a day for you guys, and it's going to all these different organizations.
So it's like if a person doesn't know where should I give tzedukah, or who am I? I'm not giving. You give it over there, and these people distribute the money evenly, whatever they decide, who makes the decisions, which organization goes where. But that tzedukah is your thing.
And we do serious due diligence. Okay, we had 700 applications. So just get an idea. Like we made everyone reapply again. When we were smaller, we didn't do it as serious. We went back. We took 7 organizations off quietly, not for anything. Whatever. Just we want people call us every year and say, we have more Meister money. Who should we give to? Wow. They look at I had an anesthesiologist, a woman. I don't think she's from from Miami. She called us and said, I have $29,000 of my Meister of my 10% that I want to give. I don't know who to give to, but I trust you. She gave a check for $29,000, right? So that's what we're doing. We want to be, we want to be the place where people go, okay, if you don't have a gabbai tzedakah, if you're not giving millions of dollars, do your own research, that people say, okay, daily giving is the trusted name to give to the best organizations in the world.
Wow, it's amazing stuff. Growing up, when you grew up as a child, the way you described before, did you see this a lot of giving and charity? Did you have there was tzedukah in your life that triggered something like this, or no?
It's a great question, and I would say that actually Rabbi Yoel Gold did a video about my Zaidi. It's a really wonderful video. I'll have to send it to you. My Zaidi, all 4 of my grandparents are Holocaust survivors. Yeah, and my Zaidi, people think my Zaidi was a Lamed Bavnik. He was a shamus of a shul in Cambridge, Massachusetts for over 50 years. He was makar of hundreds of people. And so Rabbi Gold did this video about him. And I always felt that his mitzvah was Avos Yisrael. He loved all Jews. That's where I think I get my Avos Yisrael from. He just loved every Jew. And but he was very poor, very, very, very poor. I remember my mother saying that if the school said you need to bring 3 pencils in, he'd say, I'm so sorry, but we can only afford 1. And I found this out after I started daily. I knew they were poor, but I didn't know how important giving tzedakah daily was for him. But the story Rabbi Gold told is that there was a tzedakah box. A life insurance salesman came to my Zaidi's house one day, and he gave him as a gift for listening to his spiel about the life insurance. He gave him this beautiful little coin counter that you put in any coin, and you click the lever, and it counts how much is in it. And he used that as his personal tzedakah box. And every single day when my mother or 2 sisters came home from school, they would fight over who got to give the coin every single day. And so Rabbi Gold did this video about this, about my Zaidi and the giving. He was the ultimate giver. And so how really, without even knowing, sort of passed in through the DNA of my mother. She did always give me a penny or nickel to give in school. But if I'm being completely honest, I have my own business. My wife doesn't work out of the house. I don't make a ton of money. I make enough. I never, but like I don't have to tell you how expensive life is sending our kids to these schools, and it was unbelievable tuitions. And it was very difficult because I always paid full tuition, and I gave to my shul, and I gave to my school, and I gave to Camp Hask, where I was like I gave, but I'm just being very vulnerable. It was very hard. It was hard for me to give. It wasn't easy because I didn't have anyone saving up for my retirement account or putting money away for my kids' college fund. And what I've seen over the last 7 years, and this is what the Rambam says, right? If you can have $100 and you're going to give to one person $100 or $1 to 100 different people, you give $1 to 100 different people. Why? Obviously, the impact, you think it's not as much. But what it does is giving is a muscle. And the more you give and the more you become a giver, the more you become a giver.
Wow.
And I've seen from my own over the last 7 years, this is just personally, I give now every single time I get money, I put 10% straight into a donor advised fund. It's not my money, it's Hashem's money. And you realize once you put money away for tzedakah, you give so much more freely also. And I feel like now looking back, I'm like, wow, I really wasn't a giver. I thought I was.
Yeah.
I thought I was, but not to the level I am now. And I just see the bracha has just come and come and come. I know the more you give, the more you get. And not you shouldn't do it because you think you're going to get, right? But when you give, you become a giver. And I think that Hashem put us in this world that the greatest thing we could do, like it's in our DNA to give. Hashem put us in the world to be a light, right? What is being a light is to give.
Right.
It's in our DNA to procreate and have children, and that's giving.
Yeah.
Right? It's literally in the species. It's like it's hardwired in.
It's like emulating Hashem. Hashem is a giver, and what we have to do is be a giver.
There's a trillion things that have to go right every single second for us to say one word or for me to move my thumb. A trillion. Right. I know the anatomy behind it, right? He gives us more than we could possibly give. The way we can emulate Hashem more than anything is giving.
Of course.
And the way we can feel aligned with our truest, greatest, highest essence is giving.
Right.
And I always wondered the last 7 years as we've grown this thing, why is it so hard? People say to me all the time, like, did you ever in a million years think you'd have 20,000 people giving $1 a day? I was like, I thought we'd had 20,000 the first 3 months.
Right.
I was so naive, right? But it is so hard. I remember Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein used to say all the time, Jonathan, why do we only have 5,000? We only have 10,000. We should have 100,000. Everyone loves this. But there's a Yetzer Hara because it is so hard for most of us to give. I mean, for the time people even hear this, they're gonna be like, everyone's like, wow, that's a great idea. Why don't I sign up? And then it's like, squirrel.
Right.
And then it's like, well, I give to my shul and I give to my school and I read a gift on solid. Yeah, but this $1 a day, becoming a giver every day, there is nothing like it. What it'll do for you
the feeling is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the challenges of giving. Why are people it is for some people, everyone gives tzedakah, but some people have such a hard time to give. You know, they want, their heart tells them, I gotta give, I want to give. They think twice. The connection that people have with this money, that they can't let go of this. Yeah. And I guess that's why the mitzvah is even bigger, because there's such an attachment.
Yes.
You worked so hard for it, your blood, it's your sweat.
Yes.
You give it away from yourself. But why are people so? Because it's hard to get, I imagine. What is the what?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. Yeah, I think that it is one of the cheat codes to having a happy, meaningful life. Just like Emunah, right? If you have Emunah, life is so much better. Right. If you knew with 100% certainty, look, with 100, not 90%, with 100% certainty that Hashem was Hashem,
you're a free man.
Then we can't get. There's no schar. We can't be rewarded because it's too easy, right? At the end of the day, we have Emunah and we have to work for Emunah. We have to work on our bitachon every day, and then it gets better and better and better. Right. But there are people just can't believe. They just don't. We all have friends who just don't believe. Right. And I think tzedakah, being a giver, like when you give, it literally is it puts you into a vibrational frequency of being a giver. Right. And then every day when you choose again to give, you could be having a bad, you're having a bad day, and like a friend calls you and you didn't have time, but like you decide, he needs me, and then you spend time with them and you just change their mood, or you really help them. You're just like how it makes you feel. It doesn't have to be money. Right. It could be time. It could be a smile. It could be a compliment. It could go be visiting someone who's sick. Right. But when you give, it changes your whole day. Right. And so I think that the Yetzer Hara is so strong because the positive aspect of what it does for you, the giving, is so high that it's like Hashem had to make it hard for us, because if not, like...
Now, I see that you have a passion even before. You said you were talking about you grew up and you loved life and you loved Yiddishkeit. Where do you credit this? Who do you credit for putting that into you, this emunah? Where did you find that?
Yeah, I think my Zaidi had a massive influence on me. Yeah. My Zaidi, he left me, I remember when he died when he was like 92. When he was 90, he gave me a Megillah that was given to him by a 90-year-old man in his shul that got it from his grandfather, got it from his grandfather, got it from his grandfather. And he said, my grandchildren aren't from anymore. why don't you give it to your oldest grandchild? I didn't know that till later, but I'm the second oldest grandchild, and he had offered it to my first cousin Shlomo, and Shlomo was in medical school at the time. And he said, why don't you give it to Jonathan? I'm not going to have time to learn how to lane it. To this day, it's my most prized possession is this Megillah that I lane on Purim every year from it. And I think my parents are just tremendous role models for me. They're real givers themselves of their time. My dad was always on different boards of everything, and
Yiddishkeit was very important for them. Like
very important.
The essence of Yiddishkeit.
Right, exactly. People. It was modeled in my home. It was modeled in my home, and my parents didn't. I'm from birth, and we went to shul, and I had all the opportunities that I could have, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? But they modeled it, put us in from camps, and just I don't know, all right? Like some people have it. I've just been blessed.
I feel like the Rebbeinu Shalom rewarded you with this gift that you can be the one who was a shliach to do this thing, because you were innocently doing your thing as a as a good you gave your tzedukah and stuff like that. All of a sudden, this is not the everyday. So for a person to come up with this light bulb and then be successful with this, there's millions of people fundraising outside, and there's millions of organizations, and everybody's trying, but to see this idea to work out, that so many people to come together for $1 a day and the enormous amounts of money, this is real fulfillment.
I've asked myself that question many times. What did I do to have the privilege?
Unbelievable.
And there's no question in my mind. Every time I had that question, going back from day one, was my Zaidi. Wow. And really all my grandparents, all my grandparents who survived the Holocaust, right? Like I think about when someone says Hashem's always answering your tefillos. Doesn't mean he doesn't say no. Right. You can ask Hashem something, and the answer might be no, but that doesn't mean your tefillahs are wasted, right? And someone says, you don't know what tefillah your one of your grandparents had one day and was davening, and look, all my grandparents lost almost their parents, their siblings, all in the Holocaust. They almost all perished, except for my bubby, one of my bubbies, some siblings survived, right? And so it's not me. Trust me, if you knew me, it's not me, right? It's chus avos, and I do take it very seriously. That it's a real privilege, and
tremendous.
And it's not just me. Also, there's a whole team.
Right.
There's a whole team of people. There's a lot of people that love what we're doing. The philanthropists that back us, that see the potential, and understand that the over $25.6 million that we've already distributed. That's 25.6 million mitzvahs, right? So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So
it's unbelievable.
Do
you find people, there's all kinds of people in this world that criticize this organization or are negative about it?
Look, I think I'm a little sensitive, and I think that it always hurts me when people say something negative.
Right.
I haven't honestly heard that much negative. There's misconceptions that people don't really know.
Right.
But people say, "Oh, you say you don't have an overhead." I didn't. No, we have an overhead. We just fundraise. We have two accounts. We have the tzedakah account and the operations account. There's way more money in the tzedakah account. Right. Every month I gotta go. Oh, I gotta pay my employees and I gotta make sure we have money to do these things. But it does. But everyone who's a daily giver just loves being a part of it, and no matter who you are, you can't make everyone happy for some reason. Some people wish they could choose the tzedakahs, but that would be honestly just too complicated, and that's hard because you could have one tzedakah, and we're very careful who we pick, because if you have one tzedakah that comes, like one day you're giving orphans, the next widows, the next cancer, the next substance abuse, the next mental health, and the next day you give to whatever, fill in the blank, and someone's like, I don't want to give to that. Guess what they do? Cancel. So we have to be very careful. We have to be non-political and just try to pick tzedakahs that are national and international. So if someone signs up for Omaha, Nebraska, then they're not like, oh, you're only giving to people in Brooklyn. So. Right. So it's difficult.
Do people love the idea of getting the emails every day?
People, I actually think that's one of the things that's the secret sauce that we stumbled upon. That
whose idea was that?
It was my idea to do the emails, and what's interesting is that when I talk to people often, and I go up to random people, I tell them about daily giving, and I tell them about the email. They're like, "Listen, if you send me an email, I'm not signing up because we all get inundated with a million emails. But what
Well,
people
this is
don't
different.
know,
This
this is
is
different. I
different.
have a friend who's a big CEO of a big company, and he told me once, he's like, I get like 10,000 emails a day, but the one email that I always open up is the daily giving email. And it's so funny because people say different things. Some people open the email because they want to see who got that day, and some people don't even care who got that day. They just want to see the number because it goes up. Thank God. I think it hasn't gone up only 3 days in 7 years since we started.
It gives them a jolt.
Yeah.
You know, you're working and you're in the middle of the day, and you know what? I don't know. There's something about it that
Yeah.
you can't explain. That you get this, and you know that whatever you do, someone got something.
Yes.
You made a difference in another person's life, which is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, Mishpacha magazine did an article about us.
Yeah.
Jonathan Rosenbluth wrote a really nice article, maybe a year and a half ago, and it was a beautiful article, and hundreds of people signed up for the article. And then 2 weeks later, there was a letter to the editor, and the letter to the editor said, it was anonymous, but it said, I've always struggled with tzedakah because I always felt like, what's my $18, $36 check? That's all I could afford. And what kind of impact am I really having? So I felt this conflict. Like I don't feel good about the little I'm able to give. And he said, for the first time in my life with daily giving, I feel like I'm a big veer. That's what he said. He said, I'm giving $14,000. Now it's $22,000, but at the time, $14,000 a day. I feel like I'm actually having impact with my money.
Right.
And so
when you get up in the morning and you
Yeah.
say Moida Ani,
yes,
this in your head every morning that I'm making a difference in other people's lives. This is the feeling of that. Describe that feeling.
it's not just Modani, but every modim. Before I say modim,
Yeah.
I feel extremely privileged that my tafkid is to get other children of Hashem to become givers.
It's unbelievable stuff. Now, do you have any story that made such an impact that you stopped and you said, you know what? It was worth it just for this one.
Yes. The one that comes to mind to this day is one of the most impactful stories about daily giving, because a gentleman signed up for daily giving for $1 a day, and then a minute later signed up a second time, and then a third time. And then in 5 minutes, he signed up 5 different times with 5 different email addresses. And I called him up. This is a couple of years ago. And I called up and I thanked him. And I said, why did you sign up for 5 different email addresses? He says, I signed up for my whole family. I want to teach my children about tzedakah. I said, that's beautiful. How old are your children? He said, 1, 2, and 4.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? He says, yeah. He says, I already reserved their Gmail addresses. And now in 7, 8, 9 years, when I give them their passwords for the first time, they're going to open it up and it's going to only have one email, but that email is going to be repeated thousands of times. It's going to say, thank you for your donation.
For every organization.
And they're going to see that they've been givers their entire lives.
Wow.
And I've told that story. Look, I'll be honest, I don't want to embarrass you, but you signed up for your whole family, you know?
Right.
And it just means so much. It means so much to me because it's what it's all about. It's about teaching. You can give millions of dollars, billions of dollars, but teaching the next generation to become givers is like, that's the biggest gift they can give.
You can't be a better role model.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's so touching that you can put your entire family and everybody's name and whatever is for everybody, whatever they need.
Yeah.
Just a little, $1.
Yeah.
For each child or whatever. It's just beautiful for a person to do that. And, we throw so much money in the garbage. A breakfast is $20 today.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We throw money in the garbage.
Something you said before that I wanted to say something I just remembered is that, many people go to Minyan every day, and many people, if you live in Monsey or Brooklyn, like you have a lot of Aniyim coming all the time. People are like, I give $10 a day. But the truth is that if you think about it, Motzei Shabbos, you don't have your wallet on you. Yom Tov, we have you covered. I always say daily giving should be in addition to, not instead of. Like when I'm still Minyan and I have money on me, I give $1 still. I don't not give, right? It doesn't change anything. Yeah. But you just know, just in case, you're covered every day.
Every day something is going on. There's just this warm feeling.
Yeah.
That that it's a beautiful thing. What's your thought on the responsibility that you have? You're carrying so much money from people.
Yeah.
It's an achrayas.
Yeah.
You have a lot of money and people trust you.
Yeah.
And it puts life in perspective,
Yeah. We take it very seriously. Yeah. If people saw, we don't publicize them, but if people saw the reports, the due diligence reports that we go over, the different steps we take to make sure that, we're the stewards of, hopefully one day it'll be $50 million, $100 million a year. Right now it's $8 million a year, right? Yeah. But people, we want to give to the best organizations, and we take it very, very seriously. Like I'm just right now because we're getting ready to add new tzedakahs.
Yeah.
So we had an allocation meeting. It's many steps to get to the allocation committee to even decide. The reports are like 6, 7 typed up pages, each report for each tzedakah. The amount of hours that goes into each organization just to get to the point where we decide whether they're going to do it.
Wow.
Then the rabbinical council has to approve, and the board has to approve. It's quite a big operation, and we do the absolute best we can, and we love the. Oh, I remember I said before. There's 2 reasons why I think we were successful. One is the unity, but 2 is that no matter how wealthy you are, you can't give to everyone. And with daily giving, you get to give to a diversified portfolio of tzedakahs.
That you would never know. There's organizations that you would never touch.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever heard of a Victor's Helping Hand? You might have. No. So a Victor's Helping Hand, it's a beautiful organization. Basically, if someone dies, let's say they don't have life insurance, or maybe they have life insurance, but it's not enough, or it won't pay for 6 months. A woman could be left. They can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay the funeral bills. You contact a Victor's Helping Hand. They give you a form to fill out. They do a little checking to make sure, whatever. And then they'll pay your rent for 6 months. They'll if you have, someone loses parents in a car accident, they will pay for their weddings. Again, someone pays for their entire overhead themselves, so that every dollar that people give to them goes out to the widows and the orphans. That's just one organization. There's, Ani Lidodi pays grocery bills straight to the grocers of widows every month. I can go on and on. But again, we give to orphans and widows and poverty and cancer and substance abuse and mental health and Torah and Kiru and life saving and STEM. It's just.
But are you looking at the sizes also? Like what kind of organization that you give it to small, like mom and pop shop type of organizations also?
Yes, I mean. We put it in our giving policy is that what daily giving gives to each organization cannot be more than 15% of their entire budget. We don't want to take that acharayas. Like what happens if, we for some reason we have to take you off. Like we don't want to ruin your organization, right? Just safe, just not safe to be able to be someone's entire budget. So it has to be a big enough organization, but we actually find that we have a bigger impact on smaller organizations, right? Like we give to Chai Lifeline, we give to OHEL. These are huge organizations, but the truth is that on the organizations we're adding now, we're picking smaller ones that we can have a bigger impact on. I don't know if you heard of Just One Chesed. They're in Israel, but when we started giving them a couple of years ago, their budget was like $400,000. Now it's over $5 million a year, and they're doing unbelievable things. So sometimes we look at it as like we could be seed money if we, we can't give to like a mom and pop shop, but we can give and really sometimes be. Also, people look at daily giving as a hashgacha.
Right.
If we give them, people understand like, okay, they're worthy of tzedakah money. So it's a big deal for organizations that they now can, help them kind of take their organizations to the next level.
Wow. Now, where do you see this going, in the next couple of years or in the future? Like, what kind of numbers are you projecting?
Well, please God, after your podcast gets out, we're going to have thousands more daily givers.
Hopefully.
But that first night when I went home and I had the idea, I took out my calculator and I said, there are approximately 14.5 million Jews in the world. And I said, okay, if 1% of all Jews give $1 a day, what would that be? I'm like, okay, that's $145,000 a day. That's $52.5 million a year.
Wow.
And I was like, I refuse to believe that we can't get to 1% of all Jews giving $1 a day. It might take, I didn't think it was going to take this long. I was very naive.
Right.
I thought we'd have 100,000 really fast. It's been a struggle to get to 22,000, right? It just, again, back to what we said before, it's hard to get people. And now I kind of think it's a nace that we have 22,000. It's really a nace. It's just hard to get people to take their credit card out of their wallet. But our biggest, our raving fans are our own daily givers. Everyone who gives really loves it. And so they tell other people, and slowly we're snowballing. And again, please God, we'll get to that 1%, 145,000 Jews in sooner than I hope.
Now, how would you say that this organization changed your life personally? Your spirituality, or how did you grow from this as a person?
Wow. A lot in very positive ways. I always felt very connected to Hashem. I always did. But again, I have so much hakar satov for the blessings that I've received in my life, and how hard I work to just just do right by Hashem. I just want Hashem to be proud of me every day and
But
do the
also
right
the
thing.
part of, first of all, the Mika Amchu Yisrael.
Yeah.
The Achdus that you said before, the unity of bringing so many people together, because there's so much pain and suffering.
Yeah.
There's so much machloikes here and there.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're doing so many things. You're bringing so many people together.
Yeah.
And it is just amazing stuff how it can, what this thing does.
Yeah. There've been different phases of, I've never, someone offered me $1 million for 1% of my schar.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you, but no,
You
thank
wouldn't
you.
do it.
No, I wouldn't do it. And there's no amount of money, right? But, I at times, just again, your podcast is called Struggle, so I'm going to be vulnerable.
Yeah, of course.
At times, even though I would not trade it for anything in the world, the burden I felt was very high, very, very high, because I felt like Hashem gave this to me for a reason.
Right.
And I think the reason is because I'm not satisfied. I'm not easily, right? So some people are like, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
And to be honest, I very often, until very recently, I mean, really like the last year, I was never happy.
Wow.
I just constantly was disappointed. Like, why aren't we growing? Why aren't we getting more? Why aren't we getting more? I don't understand.
You looked at it as a business, from a business point of view. You're like, listen, I have this idea. It's great.
Not just business, but it's just like, this is so good for you. Like, I'm not doing this for me. Like, like I go around and tell people, and I was so passionate because I'm like, again, I tell people, and they're like, I know how happy everyone who does is, and I know what it's going to do for them, and I tell people, and then they don't sign up, and it was so hard, and I was like, felt such a I'd raise money to do a campaign, and we put out videos, and we do this, and then we get 100 people sign up, 500 people sign up. Again, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of tzedakah, but there's 14.5 million Jews. I was so frustrated, and it was a heavy burden. I'm not going to lie, it was a heavy burden, and only really in the last year, as I've learned a little bit more to have more self-compassion and more self-love, to realize that it's really in Hashem's hand. I can only do the shtadlus, and I can only bring it to people and give them the opportunity. And at the end of the day, I can't. It's really and I think maybe part of the burden was like I thought it's because the success we had was because of me. Maybe it was my ego.
Right,
maybe I thought maybe the burden was because I felt like, why this used to work, and why is this work, or why we do it, and I have to tell you that self-compassion and self-love is the most important thing. And it's helped me tremendously.
But what does that mean? You mean to say that you talk to yourself and you tell yourself, listen, I'm not in control.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing. My heart is in the right place.
That's right.
I mean it.
That's right.
I do it. It's the MS.
It's the MS. I know Hashem knows that my intention is 100% pure.
And then you take you sit down in the sun and you let Hashem run the show.
Just let go.
That's it. That's when you start getting satisfied.
That's when I started finding satisfaction in it. And I feel, again, I had satisfaction, like I felt Hakar Satov.
Of course.
But I also felt a choking burden. Choking burden.
That's
because I felt like no matter what I do, I'm not driving this hard enough. I'm not doing, and I'll tell you that I had an employee, and again, I think I'm a really nice boss, but I had an employee who I was very close with, and he told me, he says, in the most nice way possible, he's like, you're difficult to work for because you drive, like you're never satisfied, like you're just, and he was right. I wasn't ever satisfied, and I wasn't happy with whatever results we got because I always expected more, and I still want and strive for more and strive for the best, but I think I'm a much healthier person now because
you got out of the way.
I got out of the way.
You just get out of the way.
Yeah, I try. I'm trying. Yeah. It's a daily struggle. I'm not going to tell you I'm not perfect, and I think it'll continue to be a struggle. But it's something that I tell you, if there's one message I can give to your listeners for the Struggle podcast, that a couple books really changed me. There's two books by Rav Moshe Gersht. One is called The Three Conditions, and the other one's called It's All the Same to Me. It was the first one. It was a USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller. Small, short book. On the cover, I was blown away. This best-selling book. On the cover, it had a testimonial from Deepak Chopra. On the back, it had testimonials from Rav Usher Weiss, Rav Dovber Cohn, and an ESPN sports analyst. Like that was like, wow, what is this book?
Right.
And it changed my life. It was amazing. And then when his second book, The Three Conditions, came out, I honestly didn't want to read it because I was so enamored by the first book. Finally, I read the second book, and I was like turning the pages one by one, and I was like, how is this possible? I think it's better than the first one. And I've read it 5 times in the last 2 years since it came out.
What is the core message?
The core message of the 3 conditions is that there's 3 conditions to living a happy, meaningful life: intention, certainty, and joy.
Okay.
Intention is how aligned you feel to your inner essence. That's why giving is so important, because our deepest, highest, truest essence is giving, right?
Right.
But in general, the more you feel aligned to your inner essence, the more meaningful your life's going to be. That's number one.
So intention means you have to have the right intention, what you're doing?
Yeah, like intention, you're like, if you can be authentic
Right.
to your intentionally, you do things with intention, to your
Correct.
alignment, right?
Correct.
That's one thing, very, very important. The next thing is called certainty, which is basically, if I was going to say it in a Jewish term, would be bitachon,
Right.
right? And basically, the more you have bitachon, the more you understand in your core that everything is for the good.
Wow.
Everything is for the good. We might not understand it, but everything is for the good. That's the number 2. So that's, you got intention and certainty. And joy is the barometer of how well you're doing on the first 2.
The first 2.
Right?
Right.
So the closer you are to your most inner authentic self, and the closer you are to being 100% certain that everything's for the good, the higher you are in those 2, the more joy you have.
Right.
And then he talks about once you have joy, that's when the miracles happen and the synchronicities happen.
Right.
And I remember I'm close to a big tzaddik in Yerushalayim, Rav Nachum Cohn. I don't know if you heard of him. He's in Yerushalmi. He's a big Mukubal and tzaddik. And I had the privilege to become close to him before daily giving. In fact, I kind of think whatever the hashgacha pratis that I end up treating him and getting close to him, and is what ended up leading to daily giving through hashgacha pratis. And he's always big. I've been in his house, and people come from all over the world for brachas from him. And one famous story is these two girls came to Yerushalayim. They read before, there was a book called 180 Rehov Yafo about Rav Nachum Cohn, about this thick in English, about the different Yeshuas and brachos that came true from him. I'm blanking on the doctor that Dr. Meir Wickler wrote 180 Rehov Yafo, and in it there's this story of these 2 girls who heard about it, and they were looking for shidduchim, and that's one of his specialties, shidduchim, and they literally went to Israel to get a bracha from him, and they went to 180 Rehov Yafo. He doesn't meet there anymore. This is decades ago, and they got there and they saw that it was leaving. Or it was ending, and they were panicking, and they went up to this man, and they said, we're here to see Reb Nachum Cohn, and it was Reb Nachum Cohn himself, and he said, I'm actually leaving, I'm going to Chasna, I'm sorry, but you'll have to come next week or something. They said, no, we're leaving tomorrow. They started crying, they burst out crying, and he said, what time's your flight tomorrow? Anyway, he said, come to my house tomorrow morning. But he said to them, but listen, the only way any bracha works is if you have it with simcha. You have to live in simcha, and that always stuck with me. But after I read the 3 conditions of Moshe Gershon, the whole thing is that really it's what it's all about. Miracles and joy and synchronicities happen when you're in joy, when you live in your most authentic self, when you live with bitachon, and you live in joy. That's when the miracles happen, and that's what Rav Nachum Cohn was saying. He gives brachas all the time, and he does it. I remember seeing him say brachas, and I asked the Rebbe, like, the amount of specificity. Like, you could tell you're gonna get married this year. No, it's like you're gonna be engaged by Purim and you'll be married. And I asked him, why be so specific? And he says, I just open my mouth, whatever Hashem says comes out. And but you have to have joy. And Rav Nachum Cohn lives in such simcha.
Yeah, because the Amunah will do that.
Yeah.
The Amunah, the Betuchen.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff, and that's wow. It's amazing.
Speaking about shidduchim, let me just tell you one quick story that's it just makes me so happy. The first year we started daily giving, someone a relative not through blood signed up for daily giving for $2 a day, and I know again it's sort of and I called her and I said, why did you sign up for $2 a day? And she said, one for me and one for my future husband. And she was 36 years old and single, and She got engaged 6 months later. Wow. And I told that story to both Rabbi Klatzko and Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg, and both of them told it on their podcasts. And it started a chain reaction of people signing up for $2 a day, one for themselves and one for their future spouse. And this year alone, it's where we're in September, Already 10 people have gotten engaged who reached out. 10 I know of. 10 have reached out to say, I signed up for $2 a day and I got engaged.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just something where I think that
you see miracles.
I think you could. I think it's possible that people give tzedakah and with an intention of what they would like to see, and maybe I don't know. I don't want to say it, but I just seen it with that, and it's pretty amazing. And and I think shidduch is one of the things that's let's be honest, it's very very difficult for singles out there. It's something I have such sympathy for.
Talking about people, like you're involved in this organization, you also find that there's so much tzuras in the world because you see the amounts of money that you're giving away and the amounts of type of the amounts of type of organizations that help other people. That has also opened up a new window in your life.
I want you to know that Thursday night, I spoke to Rabbi Pesach Kron.
Yeah,
because I had to call him about the new tzedakahs we wanted to add, and I was going through the reports with him and he starts crying. And he said, I just can't handle. He's like, how do you deal with this? All the suffering.
Yeah.
So like, there's both sides, right? Like the amount of suffering there is so difficult.
You're almost like a rebbe who's listening to all the tzuras from Klal Yisrael.
Not quite, but it is difficult. And I think sometimes I do have to put a wall up a little bit because I also get to see all the good and the happiness, right? The good part of it. But it is a lot. There's a lot of struggle. Yeah. There's a lot of struggle.
A lot of struggle out there, and if if we can be on the giving end, it's something to be thank Hashem for. Sheva Kursa Tov. Now, does it sometimes take you over when you also see in the world of craziness that we live in, that there are people with such generosity, that people have such hearts, and they get overtaken by an organization like this?
Look, I every single time someone signs up, my phone vibrates, and I look. It's like it doesn't get old. It does not get old.
Yeah,
it's like nothing makes me happier. I could be having a terrible day. I'll tell you that Tisha B'Av happens to be a day where a lot of people join daily giving.
Yeah,
we have different organizations. We put out. We try to make a new commercial every year.
Mm-hmm.
And Project Inspire puts in their video, and Aish puts in their video, and Chavetz Chaim Heritage Foundation puts in their video, and I'm trying to think of the other ones. And Chazak and Torah Anytime put in there.
Right.
And so I have to say that I feel kind of guilty that the last couple of years, Tisha B'Av, even though I'm fasting and it's Tisha B'Av, but I feel guilty that I feel so happy because the whole day people are, boom, new giver, and it's like, I'm so happy.
What is it? It's just a soft moment that people have.
I think Tisha B'Av of all days of the year is the day that that unity, that people think, wow, to give $1 a day every day with my brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. Like, look, you're a daily giver. Yeah. You know what it's like. Yeah. And I think that it is, look, we all give, and we all give a lot.
Right.
We all give a lot. But there's something different about giving together as a community.
Words can't describe it.
Yeah.
Words can't describe it. What message do you have for people who really want to give tzedakah, but they don't have? Whatever they have, they need for the grocery and this, that their mind is at their point is, we know, Reb Nachman talks about it, that when the business is down and you have a bad moment, write a check.
Yeah.
It was like, how am I writing a check now? I need it for payroll. Yeah. I need it to, what are you talking about? Supply needs it. He says, no, write the check, and that is what's going to bring the shefa.
I've seen it so many times.
That is a level.
I know. It's so many.
There's a person who says, I would love to give, I can't.
Yeah. I would tell them the next time you could save up $31 to do it, sign up for a month, and then cancel, and then sign up. We see this. There's this one woman who sends in cash in an envelope.
Wow.
And she sometimes, and I literally have cried, like, she always sends a nice message. And she's like, I'm sorry I didn't have enough to send last month, right? Like,
yeah.
And I believe that that is when the biggest
tzedakah in the world.
Yeah, is when you give when you can't. When you lose your job, that's when you double down.
Yeah.
That's when the Shemayim will open for you if you show Hashem that you're a giver, and what it'll do. So. But it's hard.
It's like you said. It's like it's right there.
I've been there. I've struggled with money, and it's harder to give tzedakah when you're struggling with money because you think, how can I?
You think about yourself, your house, your kids.
How can I? But it's It's
a reverse psychology.
it is.
That's what it is.
It is.
Now, also, how about singles and bucherim and girls can sign up as well? It's only $1, and a pack of cigarettes is what is it now? $13. How much is a pack?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
So,
but it's
open
I like
for
to say with
everybody.
inflation the last couple of years,
Yeah.
daily giving gets cheaper and cheaper. It's a better deal every day as more inflation. It's still $1 a day.
So what is your dream? Let's say your children or the next generation, long time that we're both not going to be here.
Yeah.
This thing should go on till Mashiach
I hope
comes.
we're going to bring Mashiach very soon.
Right.
I really think that the daily giving is one of those things that could bring Mashiach. And I hope it won't be too much longer.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to stay focused on that 1%. Get to 145,000 Jews giving $1 every day together. That's my first goal. Let's get there, and then I'll have bigger goals. But
because it's a huge lesson that we can learn from this. That first of all, an idea to turn into action, and then $1 a day can turn into a movement.
Yeah.
A movement that doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
A movement that only helps and it touches people's lives.
You know, I've thought about Rameir Shapiro and Daf Yomi, you know, a lot of how that's grown. If he could only see what Daf Yomi movement has turned into. And I did one full cycle of Daf Yomi before, and and from someone who's, if you do Daf Yomi, it's so much easier to give $1 a day than to do Daf every day. So I believe if the Daf is learned by, I believe, hundreds of thousands of people, I really do think that daily giving one day will get there to hundreds of thousands of Yidden giving $1 every day.
Let me ask you a funny question. People hold on to their money, like for their dear life. Does money make you happy?
Giving makes you happy.
I'll
tell you that. Giving makes you happy. Does money make you happy? I think there's a lot of creature comforts that you can buy with money. Yeah. I think my in-laws, I think my in-laws have a line that, like, rich or poor, it's nice to have money.
Right.
And I think that's true. But I've actually, 3 of my patients are billionaires. So I've actually seen billionaires up close. And I always say, like, I think the lottery was $1.8 billion just a couple of days ago. Yeah. And people are like, oh, I was actually with a friend on Sunday. He goes, oh, that would solve a lot of problems. I'm thinking the opposite. Like $1.8 billion would be a nightmare. It would be an absolute nightmare. I remember in high school, I had a friend who was like, aunt won $28 million. And he said it broke up the whole family. That's $28 million. It broke up the whole family. I think the money is a blessing and a curse. Right. It's what you do with the money, you know. But I'm so blessed to see the giving nature of Jews. Wow. You know, that I get in front of some of the biggest philanthropists in the world. You know, I don't want to. You know, just. Yeah. You know, someone once introduced me, and I was speaking at an event. They're like, this guy might be giving more money a year than any one person. I'm like, I know a Jew who gives $200 million of tzedakah a year. Wow. People don't even know, you know, like it's like, so yeah, it's
it's fulfillment that we're looking for, not so much for materialistic things and stuff. That has no price. Yeah. To have this fulfillment, knowing that you're working, you're out there, and you're sharing, you give to another person. Yeah. What are you living for? Yeah. You know, Reb Nachman says that it's the biggest form of betuchen that you give tzedakah. Because you trust in Hashem that tomorrow you'll have more. That's right. What are you hoarding the money for? That's right. That's right. Then you don't trust. Right. If you want to hold on to it, then
I'll tell you, I spoke to a gentleman last night because, again, I just got this amazing opportunity to do this incredible marketing campaign that I think is going to be possibly the greatest thing we've done so far. And it's going to cost $116,000. And I don't have $116,000 right now, so I literally have to raise that money. Right. But the tzedakah ROI is unbelievable because everybody who signs up for daily giving, most never stop. Right. So even $1 a day, we're getting another Jew to give thousands of dollars to tzedakah. Not to mention they're going to tell other people and everything. Right. So I call this philanthropist up, and for whatever reason he told me, he said it's public information that he just committed $1 million to build his new shul, and he said it's public, whatever it's going, whatever. And he told me that in his donor, this is someone who gives $1 million. So I know people have donor advised funds that have millions of dollars in their donor advised funds sitting there. Yeah. He told me he has $800 in his donor advised fund. He says as soon as it comes in, it goes out. And I had so much respect for that, right? Because like you just said, it's like you don't want to be caught tomorrow with millions of dollars in your donor advised fund waiting to be given to tzedakah.
Yeah. And I think it's also beautiful. This part of the organization is that. the money is not yours. And you're selecting who you're giving, who you're not giving to. What do you know what is a good place, not a good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put this in this pool of money,
Yeah.
and your intent is good.
I love that you said that, because sometimes people say, I don't want to give to
Correct.
X organization. So I said, you know what?
You're
They said, can you make it so I don't give to that organization? I said, no, but I'm telling you that you get extra schar that day.
Yeah.
Because now you gave it to an organization you didn't even want to give.
Right. No, but it's like it's not your money to control. It's not. I'm not giving there. I'm not giving here. You have it all wrong. You know, the Bonjour gave you the money. You give tzedukah. Then don't control it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so beautiful with this organization that I love.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for using your platform to expose what we're doing to others. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, as a chiropractor, in your personal life, you're also a chiropractor. You are in the field of healing and care. So this is all in one big happy family. What's your advice for somebody as a chiropractor to take care of their body, or one message as a professional for a person to know from a chiropractor's point of view? How do you take care of your body?
What a good question.
Mind, body, soul.
I was going to say, if I could, back to the three conditions in Moshe Gur's book.
Right.
Also another book I was going to say that really I love is called Radical Compassion by Tara Brach. Another book that helped me tremendously to learn more self-compassion and self-love. I've been doing this I've been a chiropractor for 19 years, and I treat people in very, very terrible, serious pain. And all pain has an emotional component to it. All pain.
Wow.
You could be stressed, like, people don't understand. Like, do you remember as a kid you had a test and like your stomach would go in knots and you have to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
That's a thing in your head that caused a physical manifestation. So, I think working on being in your best emotional state is going to help your physical body as well. And how could you do that? I think exercise is very, very important. And it doesn't have to be. It could
walking?
be. It could be walking. I think being outside and walking is so important. If you could jog and run and get your heart rate up, even better. If you could lift weights, I have a cardiothoracic surgeon that's my patient. He's 68 years old. He's in amazing shape, and he tells me every day, he's like Jonathan, from longevity, there's literally nothing you could do better. Forget supplements, peptides, all these stem cells. If you lift weights and you build muscle mass, there's literally, and I read a book on longevity. Lifting, having muscle mass is very, very important, because after about age 40, 45, you start losing muscle mass every year. So having muscle mass is really important. Eating healthy. Sugar, I'm not going to tell you I don't eat. I love rogalach. It's my kryptonite. But sugar is really bad for you. Drink a lot of water. These are just some of the simple things that you can do.
What you're saying is that the mind and the body works together.
It works very much.
I know there's the famous Dr. Sano that he's talking about the back pain. Huge people have such problems with their backs, and he's connecting it only to the mind.
Yes. Most chiropractors might say, "Oh, that's a bunch of nonsense." I think he's onto something very important. I don't like everything he says. I don't agree fully, but there are a lot of parts to what he says that I do understand, and I do think play a very, very big role.
So you're a big believer that the mind, the body, and the soul, which means your spirituality and being positive and doing what you need to do, it's all aligned.
Yeah.
It's all together.
Yeah, I think that now, after 19 years looking back at what I do and why I think I'm good at what I do, is that I think when I'm treating people, I am very much treating their physical bodies, but the way I care for them and the way I help them in other ways, emotionally, spiritually, I think now looking back, might be why I have such success with my patients, because it is all in tandem. It all kind of comes together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And now the final question. Who is your role model?
Wow, who is my role model? Charlie Harari is a big role model of mine. Charlie's a lawyer, and dedicates so much of his life to the klal and speaking and inspiring. And
Inspiring a lot of people.
Right. And Gedalia Fenster now, you know, similarly also as a businessman that is also just inspiring the world.
Right.
And, you know, I've had tremendous Rabbanim my whole lives, just each one of them inspiring their own ways. But for me as a business, as someone in the business world, like to look to someone like Charlie Harari or Gedalia Fenster who, you know, who have really made it financially and successfully in their life, but then dedicate their lives to teaching and inspiring others. Those are off the top of my head, the two inspiring figures that I look up to a lot.
Amazing stuff. Jonathan, I want to thank you for sharing your heart, for sharing your mission. You're helping people coming out of their struggles, and you're helping also people find their fulfillment. You're helping people become givers. It is unbelievable the way you took an idea and you turned it into action. You teach people that a small act of kindness, small, can turn into what a ripple effect this has. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. Inspiring so many people. So the message for everybody who's listening: don't procrastinate. You hear, you're inspired, you want to do something, jump online.
That's right. Go to dailygiving.org right now. It'll take literally 60 seconds and you will be a giver the rest of your life. Or you cancel anytime. If you don't have enough money, don't worry about it. You can cancel, but check it out. I think you're going to love being a part of it.
And become ba'achdus with Klal Yisrael.
Right.
And your dollar is going to make such an impact, such a difference.
It's going to make a difference in your life. People don't realize, I think that's the really number one thing that I've realized is just becoming a giver, what it does.
Right.
And you know, some people say, oh, it's Olam Haba. It's not, the reward for giving is being a giver.
Yeah. Rabban Shalom should help you, that you should have koyach, you should have strength to continue with this beautiful mission that you have and this beautiful vision. And I want to thank you for leading by example.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Excellent.